JRPGs are fun. They have engaging strategic combat, huge worlds to explore, dungeons to conquer, and countless NPCs to meet on your journey. And as fans of the genre will no doubt agree, some of the best stories in all of media. Stories that can take up to 100 hours to fully experience. If you look up lists of the best JRPGs, they almost all live and die on the value of their story. I've seen more than one person on Gamasutra say that JRPGs are about story first and foremost. But you wouldn't do anything for 100 hours if it wasn't fun. Welcome to the JRPG Canon. This video series is first and foremost a Patreon reward for my podcast, the RPG Book Club, where we play a chunk of an RPG and talk about how it makes us feel. It's like a book club, but for RPGs. If you want to hear me talk about the stories of JRPGs, that's the place. This video series will primarily be an exploration of JRPG gameplay and storytelling rather than story, as an opportunity to experience as many different types of JRPG as possible, which is a gargantuan undertaking. The first JRPG, at least in its modern form, was Dragon Quest for the NES. Dragon Quest came out in 1986. It is currently 2019. That means there are 33 years of releases of JRPGs of all shapes and sizes. If you wanted to play all of these games, it would take hundreds and hundreds of hours, and if you're like me with a busy schedule and a family, you would just have to concede to never playing most of them. Except that last sentence was an absolute lie. Yes, it would take all that time to beat these games, even more to complete them, but to play them, to just hop in and have some fun, it takes much less time. You can turn on a game, have fun immediately, and experience the game's main gameplay loop in just a few hours. And I can hear you now, JRPGs are about the story. If you don't complete the story, you aren't really playing the game. And you may be correct. But that doesn't mean every JRPG fan should spend thousands of hours catching up to present day before buying the next Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Tales, or whatever JRPG game that might be coming down the pike. I'm a man of analogies. They're my teaching tool of choice, and there's a very good analogy for this predicament: TV shows. TV shows are great. They are long, epic stories spanning years and years and hours of content, and have a similarly huge time commitment to catch up to present. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. My fellow fans of Doctor Who know that to get someone into the show, you don't start with an unearthly child, and oftentimes you don't even start with Rose. You, if you're wrong, start with Blink, or, if you're right, start with the girl in the fireplace. The girl in the fireplace is self-contained. It's not part of the series' overarching plot, or the umpteenth appearance of the Daleks or the Cybermen, but is a simple story about a man from space who travels through time, is everyone's best friend, and who is always there to save the day, and who often doesn't get to save everyone. When you watch The Girl in the Fireplace, you get Doctor Who. You understand the basics of the show and can get a feel for its quality and decide if it's something you want to dig into. Yes, your opinion may not be as well formed as someone who watched 11 seasons of the new series, but their opinion is not as well formed as someone who watched all 851 episodes, and theirs may not be as well formed as someone who read the books, listened to the audio plays, subscribed to the magazines, and watched the Peter Cushing movies. But you'll still have a frame of reference for what the show is, and how it may or may not play out over the full 851 episodes. And if someone is like, you gotta watch Legends of Tomorrow, it's like Doctor Who with superheroes, you'll understand what they mean, and go from there. This is also true in JRPGs, even if we don't want to admit it. How many people do you know who say, oh man, I loved Final Fantasy VII, but I could never beat it? Or, I played a little bit of Legend of Dragoon and I remembered loving what I played. And on the other end of the spectrum, I gave Earthbound a shot, but I couldn't get into it. I consider myself a fan of JRPGs. My favorite games of all time skew heavily in the genre's favor, but I've never played a Breath of Fire game, or a Mana game, or a Phantasy Star, or Final Fantasy IV, or a non-Persona Shin Megami Tensei game, or a Monster Hunter, or hell, any single roguelike game. The list goes on and on and on. Felipe Pepe wrote an article on Gamasutra that inspired me to start this series. He posits that if you have 100 hours of gaming available, would you be better served playing a single run-through of Daggerfall or Baldur's Gate 2? Or playing 4 hours of 25 different CRPGs? Or even 1 hour of 100 different CRPGs? Which would give you a better idea of what it means to be a CRPG? I started RPG Book Club to try and play more of the genre that I love, but the podcast is again focused on completion and story, and not just experiencing. So this channel will be a journey to have a working knowledge of as many JRPGs as possible. This will hopefully be an insight into the gameplay, experience, and storytelling of all of these games. I may not know who the secret ending villain is, or understand all of the metaphors at play, or know the twist in Disc 3 that changes everything, but I will hopefully get the game. I'll see what makes the game fun, I'll see what makes it tick, I'll see what makes it unique. I'll have a working knowledge of the game, and so when someone pitches me their Phantasy Star meets Persona game, I'll know thereabouts what they even mean. So I hope you'll join me on this journey and check out more of the games in this awesome genre. If you're interested in watching more of these, please like and subscribe to this video, and if you want to hear me discuss the stories of these sorts of games, check out our podcast at rpgbookclub.libsyn.com, or just search for us in your favorite podcatcher. And if you'd like to see these videos 2 weeks early, you can donate to the RPG Book Club Patreon, who gets this series as a membership perk. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.